You bought an e-bike, you love it, but the second it starts raining, you grab your car keys. Here is what nobody tells you. Most modern e-bikes handle rain just fine. The ones that get damaged are not getting rained on. They are being maintained the wrong way afterward. And rain is not the biggest danger out there. There are surfaces on your daily route that turn near frictionless the moment water hits them. Almost nobody talks about them. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what your bike can handle and how to ride wet conditions safely. Let's start with the most important thing to understand about your e-bike and water. Your bike is not waterproof. It is water resistant. That is not just words. It is a real difference that determines what you can and cannot do with your bike in wet conditions. Waterproof means fully sealed, nothing gets in, even underwater. Water resistant means the bike is designed to survive riding in rain, splashing through puddles, and riding on wet roads. It is not designed to be submerged, power washed, or left sitting in a downpour for hours. Every modern e-bike has an IP rating on its components. IP stands for Ingress Protection. It is an international standard that tells you exactly how well a part handles water and dust. Two numbers follow the letters IP. The first number is dust protection. The second is water protection. If you see an X in place of a number, like IPX5, that just means that category was not tested. It does not mean it failed. Here is what each water number means in real riding conditions. IPX4 is splash protection from any angle. This handles light rain, wet roads, and the spray coming off your tires. It is the minimum you want on a commuter bike. IPX5 handles steady water jets. This is moderate to heavy rain coming from any direction. Solid for year-round city riding. IP65 is the number you will see most often on motors. The 6 means fully dust tight. The 5 means water jets from any angle. This is the standard for quality commuter and recreational e-bikes. IPX6 handles powerful water jets. Think heavy downpours and aggressive weather. Off-road riders want this. IPX7 means the part can survive being submerged in 1 meter of water for 30 minutes. You will see this on higher-end batteries. Now here is the part that trips people up. Different parts on your bike carry different ratings. The motor might be IP65 while the display is only IPX4. The actual water resistance limit of your entire bike is whatever the lowest rated part is. Your bike is only as waterproof as its weakest component. The industry standard for commuter e-bikes sits around IP54. If your bike's specs show anything below IP43, avoid riding in rain without protecting those components first. The battery is the part most people worry about in the rain. The good news is that batteries on quality e-bikes typically carry IP67 ratings. They are usually the best protected component on the whole bike. The two real threats are the charging port and the battery contacts. Both are exposed points where water can sit and cause corrosion or a short. Check the rubber cover over your charging port before every wet ride. Press it firmly shut. That small cover is protecting a direct entry point into your electrical system. If it is loose, cracked, or missing, water will find its way in during a rainy commute. When you get home after a wet ride, do not plug your bike in right away. Even if the contacts look dry, moisture can be sitting inside. Wipe the port and the battery terminals with a dry cloth. Wait at least an hour before charging. A soaked battery connected to a charger is how expensive components get destroyed. There is one more thing. If you park outside, never leave the battery in the bike during a heavy rainstorm. Bring it inside. Even with a good IP rating, sitting in sustained heavy rain for hours is different from riding through it for 30 minutes. Cold weather does not damage your battery the way water does. It does something more subtle and more frustrating for most riders. Your battery is powered by lithium-ion chemistry. Inside the battery, tiny lithium ions move back and forth between two electrodes through a liquid called the electrolyte. That movement is what creates electricity. When temperatures drop, the liquid gets thicker, like cold syrup. The ions slow down. The battery cannot release its energy as fast. The bike feels like it is running low even when the battery shows plenty of charge. That is called voltage sag. The energy is still in the battery. You just cannot access it efficiently. Here is what this means in real range numbers. At 59-68 Fahrenheit, you lose almost nothing. At 41 to 50 Fahrenheit, expect 10 to 20% less range. At freezing, 32 Fahrenheit, you are looking at 20 to 30% less. Below 23 Fahrenheit, range loss jumps to 30 to 40%. Below that, performance becomes unpredictable. The fix is simple. Store your battery indoors at room temperature. Bring it outside only when you are ready to ride. A warm battery that cools down during the ride will always perform better than one that started cold. There is one rule that is non-negotiable. Never charge a frozen battery. Never plug in a battery that is below 32 Fahrenheit. Charging in freezing temperatures causes something called lithium plating inside the cells. It is permanent. It does not reverse when the battery warms up. It kills capacity for the life of the battery. Bring the battery inside. Let it reach room temperature. That means at least 30 to 60 minutes of warming time before you connect the charger. Now let's talk about the thing that actually keeps you from hitting things. Your brakes. If your e-bike has rim brakes, the older style where the pads squeeze against the wheel rim, those pads lose roughly half their stopping power when the rim is wet. Water gets between the rubber and the rim and kills friction. Rim brakes were designed for dry conditions. On a wet day, they will let you down. Every quality modern e-bike uses disc brakes. The rotor is a metal disc bolted to the wheel hub. The caliper squeezes brake pads against the rotor. Because the rotor sits up off the ground instead of on the rim, it sheds water fast and performs consistently in rain. Disc brakes are the standard for e-bikes because e-bikes are heavier and faster than regular bicycles. They need reliable stopping power, especially on wet roads. There are two types of disc brakes. Mechanical disc brakes use a cable. Hydraulic disc brakes use fluid. Hydraulic systems give you better modulation, more stopping power, and self-adjust as the pads wear down. If you ride in rain regularly, hydraulic disc brakes are the better system. Even with good disc brakes, wet roads demand a different technique. First, double your following distance at a minimum. Stopping distances on wet pavement are roughly double what they are on dry roads. Triple that distance if it is raining hard. Second, start braking earlier than you think you need to. Wet rotors may need a few rotations before the pads grip fully. Third, use both brakes together, but favor the rear in wet conditions. The front brake gives you the most stopping power, but too much front brake on a slick surface can pitch you over the handlebars. Let the rear brake carry most of the work. Ease pressure off instantly if you feel the rear tire start to skip. Fourth, never grab the lever. Squeeze it progressively, smoothly, and increase pressure gradually. A sudden hard grab in the rain locks wheels and sends you sideways. This is the section that most e-bike rain guides skip completely. It is also the most important one for keeping you upright. Wet pavement reduces tire grip by roughly 1/3 compared to dry asphalt. But the road surface is not your only problem. There are specific surfaces on almost every urban route that become genuinely dangerous the second water hits them. Knowing where they are is what separates riders who never fall from riders who do. Painted road markings, crosswalk lines, stop bars, lane arrows, bike lane edge lines. These look harmless. In the rain, they are nearly frictionless. The paint fills in the texture of the road and removes almost all grip. Fresh paint is the worst. Cross-painted lines while going straight, with the bike upright, and without braking or accelerating through the surface. If you need to stop near a painted line, stop before it. Manhole covers and metal grates. Cast iron in the rain is close to frictionless for rubber tires. Approach them straight. Do not corner on them. Do not brake while your tires are on them. If you have to cross one, coast over it with the bike balanced and upright. Rail tracks and tram lines. Steel rails in the rain are the single most dangerous surface you will encounter on a commute. A bicycle wheel that catches a rail gap at an angle stops instantly. The bike does not. Cross all rail tracks as close to perpendicular as possible. Aim for 90 degrees. Slow down before the track. Never brake on the steel itself. Straighten the bike fully before crossing. Wet leaves. A pile of leaves on the road in autumn has the same grip as ice. Treat accumulated wet leaves exactly like you would an ice patch. Slow down before reaching them. No sharp turns. No sudden braking. Ride through smoothly and straight. Oil slicks. Roads collect engine oil, transmission fluid, and dripped fuel over time. It sits on the surface invisible when dry. When rain hits, it floats to the top before washing away. That window, the first 10 to 15 minutes after rain begins, is the most dangerous time on the road. The rain is lifting that contamination up. If you see a rainbow-colored sheen on the water pooling on the road, that is oil. Avoid it. Deep puddles. Never ride through a puddle you cannot see the bottom of. Not because of electronics, because of what is hiding under it. Potholes, drainage grates, debris, broken pavement. A puddle that looks 2 inches deep can swallow your front wheel. Go around. Your tires are the only thing between you and all of those hazards. What is on your wheels and how much air is in them matters more than almost anything else. For rain riding on standard roads, lower your tire pressure slightly before you go out. If your normal pressure is 45 psi, drop it to 38 or 40. A lower pressure increases the contact patch between the tire and the road. More rubber touching the ground means more grip. Do not go below the manufacturer's minimum or you risk pinch flats and rim damage. For winter riding on dry, cold pavement, keep the tires within normal range, but check pressure every few days. Tire pressure drops about 1 psi for every 10 Fahrenheit drop in temperature. A tire that was perfectly inflated last week may be noticeably low after a cold front rolls through. For snow, your regular tires are not enough. Standard rubber gets hard and stiff below 45 Fahrenheit. Hard rubber cannot grip the tiny bumps in road surfaces. The compound is wrong for the conditions. If you ride in areas that get real winter, you have 2 good options. Fat tires, 4 inches wide or wider, give you a much larger contact patch and can be run at very low pressure, between 5 and 12 psi, which lets the tire float over soft snow. They are forgiving and stable. The second option is studded winter tires. Metal carbide pins pressed into the tread physically bite into ice. Regular tires and even fat tires cannot grip ice. Studded tires can. Research shows studded tires provide 300 to 400% better grip on ice than standard tires. If you are installing studded tires for the first time, break them properly, break them in properly, run them at 40 psi for the first 20 to 30 miles to seat the studs, then drop to 20 to 25 psi for winter riding. Good equipment only gets you so far. How you ride matters just as much. In the rain, drop your assist level by 1 notch from your normal setting. A high assist level that works great on a dry road can spin the rear tire loose on a wet surface. The motor does not know the road is slick. You do. Lower assist means smoother power delivery and better traction control through your own hands. Roll into the throttle or increase pedaling assistance gradually. Never twist or surge suddenly. Sudden torque breaks the rear wheel free in wet conditions. Smooth, progressive input keeps the bike tracking straight. Slow down before corners, not during them. A panic brake in the middle of a turn on wet pavement is one of the fastest ways to go down. Carry your normal speed to just before the turn, slow down, then ride through the turn with steady throttle and no sudden inputs. Keep your body loose. Stiff arms and legs cannot absorb surprises. Slightly bent elbows and relaxed knees let the bike move under you when it hits a slick patch or uneven surface. Rigid posture and a loose road surface is a bad combination. In snow, reduce your speed by 30 to 40% compared to dry conditions. Braking distances are double on packed snow and far longer on ice. Use lower assist modes to prevent wheel spin. The motor's torque working against a slick tire is the fastest way to lose control. Do not ride in conditions below 10 degrees Celsius or 14 Fahrenheit. At those temperatures, battery performance crashes hard, the rubber on your tires loses grip, even with studded tires, and your reaction time is slower because you are cold. Use backup transportation on those days. Your e-bike being ready for rain means nothing if you are not ready for it yourself. Start with a fully waterproof jacket and pants. Not water-resistant, waterproof, with sealed seams. Breathable materials like Gore-Tex keep you dry without overheating from the exertion of riding. A soaked rider gets cold fast. Cold riders make poor decisions. Gloves are critical in wet weather. Wet handlebars are slippery. Full-finger waterproof gloves give you grip and keep your hands functional. Numb fingers cannot brake properly. A helmet visor or a cycling cap worn under your helmet keeps rain off your face. Riding with water streaming into your eyes while watching for manhole covers and rail tracks is a recipe for a crash. Clear or yellow-tinted cycling glasses are better in rain than tinted lenses. They block rain from your eyes and increase contrast on a dark, wet road. Objects and surfaces are easier to read with the right lens. For winter, add layers underneath the jacket. Base layer against skin, mid layer for warmth, outer shell for wind and water. Cover your neck. Heat loss through the neck and hands is fast on a cold ride. Insulated waterproof gloves built for winter, not just rain, are a separate piece of gear worth buying. Your hands in the rain need grip. Your hands in 25 Fahrenheit wind need warmth. Those are different gloves. Shoe covers or waterproof boots matter more than most riders think. Cold, wet feet are distracting. Distracted riders miss hazards. Waterproof cycling shoe covers slip over regular shoes and take about 10 seconds to put on. That is a small investment for a huge comfort return on a wet commute. Lights are not optional in rain, they are mandatory. Run your front light and rear light even in the middle of the day during a downpour. Rain dramatically cuts how far drivers can see. A flashing rear light in the rain is the difference between being visible and being invisible. Aim your front light slightly downward so the beam illuminates the road surface, not the rain in the air, which creates blinding glare. Aim for at least 800 lumens up front in true winter riding conditions. Wipe the light lenses before you leave. A film of road grime on your headlight cuts its output more than most riders realize. Reflective gear is the final layer. A fluorescent jacket with reflective strips makes you visible from further away than lights alone. Reflective ankle bands catch headlight beams at the perfect angle and move as you pedal, which draws a driver's eye. What you do when you get home after a wet ride determines how long your e-bike lasts. Most of the damage from wet riding does not happen during the ride. It happens in the hours after, when the bike sits wet. The moment you are back, wipe the entire bike down with a dry microfiber cloth. Frame, battery casing, display, connectors, motor housing. Pay close attention to the chain and the brakes. Water sitting on metal overnight corrodes it fast. Do not use a pressure washer to clean a muddy bike. Even a motor-rated IP65 can be damaged by a high-pressure jet forced directly at the seals. Use a bucket of soapy water and a soft brush, or a gentle garden hose aimed away from electrical components. After the bike is dry, the chain needs attention. Rain washes away chain lubrication. A dry chain rusts fast and makes noise. Clean the chain with a dry rag to remove grit. Then apply wet weather chain lube, 1 drop per link. Backpedal for 30 seconds to work the lube in. Wipe off the excess. Wet lube is thicker than regular lube and stays on the chain through the next wet ride. Wipe the brake rotors with isopropyl alcohol. Road grit embeds in brake pads during wet rides and wears rotors down fast. A quick wipe with alcohol removes contamination and prevents the squealing sound you will hear on your next dry day ride. Check the charging port and battery contacts again before you charge. If anything looks damp, dry it and store the battery indoors if you are not riding for more than a day. Cold and moisture drain batteries even when they are sitting still. A battery stored at room temperature charges better and lasts longer. For long-term protection, apply dielectric grease to all electrical connectors. This is a cheap, non-conductive grease that seals connectors against moisture and prevents the white and green crusty corrosion that shows up on bikes ridden in wet conditions. A small tube costs a few dollars. It protects hundreds of dollars in electrical components. So, can you ride your e-bike in the rain safely? Yes, you can safely ride your e-bike in the rain and winter, provided you respect the machine's limits. Ensure your components have the proper IP rating, manage battery temperatures, and avoid charging frozen cells. When riding, adjust your tire pressure, lower your assist levels, and stay vigilant on slick surfaces like manhole covers or wet leaves. Winter requires specific tires and appropriate gear while always respecting the 10 degrees Celsius limit. Taking 10 minutes to wipe down your bike and dry the contacts after a wet ride is the difference between a machine that lasts for years and one that fails.